a statement of, what's happened the past week about all the closures and everything, just an overall statement of what's going on with you, and then we'll open to questions, and Tanner will chime in. He'll also be available to answer questions as well.
Just kind of starting out, to this point, I don't think there's been necessity for an official statement or anything, because everything seems to have changed day by day, moment by moment. Kind of going back to that first day, when I say the first day, like for us, is when they canceled the College World Series and the postseason, right after they had to cancel the NCAA tournament. Kind of hits you like a ton of bricks. Kind of take you in the room with our guys. We had just actually had a team meeting at 3 o'clock. I think the news broke about the College World Series getting canceled, I think at 3:12. So what we were doing was, I think we were on a hiatus from a conference standpoint until March the 30th. And we had just talked about what training, how we were going to go forward. We didn't know obviously the extent of what was going on. And and then after we kind of told the team, we were going to be sending out information, training plans, what's going forward. Then you're meeting with the leadership on kind of what they want to do. And you want to kind of get some feedback. I won't kind of go into details of that, but basically during that meeting is when the news came out. I had to get the team back together to share with them that the College World Series had been canceled at that point. The conference season and the rest of the season, all those things were up in the air. We knew there's a couple leagues that had basically canceled their spring sports. So there was just silence, quite honestly, for about 15 minutes in there. There wasn't a dismissed the meeting. There wasn't anything. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to say to them, and because I was processing in it with them, and the only thing you're sitting there thinking about are the players. I wasn't thinking about me. I wasn't thinking about baseball. I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking about the players, because I'm sitting there looking at Cale Bro, and you're sitting there going around a timeline of everything that, from the first time I met with him when he was a senior at Sulphur High School, to him going to Mississippi State, to sit there and do everything he did to try to continue to play, and everything he'd been through. You're sitting there processing that, and you look at Jake Dickerson, and you look at Clayton Raspberry, and then you look at Nate Fisbeck, and you sit there, and you've got guys that are draft hopefuls. You can't process you can't articulate what's going on as fast as your brain is trying to process all these things that are going on. And obviously it's important. There's so many different emotions that are going on. There's confusion, there's frustration, there's anger, there's all these things, because you don't know. And I think that's the biggest thing, is when you don't know. And you're going through this entire process in a matter of moments. And I think that's why we just sat there in silence. And a couple of guys said something. Hunter Reeves, if you know Hunter Reeves and his story, and everything he's gone through, from his struggles on the field last year to the immense success that he's kind of come through with this year. If all you got to do is look at the numbers, and you got a guy that's going to have a chance to play professional baseball, make money, playing a sport he loves. He walks out and just screams into the sky, just the most primal, most innocent, because you don't know. And I think that's where people have asked me, like, "Hey, Coach, how are you?" And and this is even the next day. Like, the next day, I was better, because I think we're built to handle anything. Once you figure out what hits you, what's going on, what's happening, you can. The human spirit can handle a lot of things, but in that moment, you you're just processing everything. And, you know, some guys wanted to go home, and you understood that. The message to the guys at that moment was all the feelings that you have, all the emotions and everything that's going through that is, there's nothing wrong with those things. It's not it's not comparing it to death, but the emotions that are connected to it are very similar. You're going through a mourning period, you're grieving, you're going through all these different things, and we're still going through that right now. You know, I think the hardest thing, the hardest thing that we had to do to this point, besides saying that, was lock the facility. I understand why we had to lock the facility. I understand why we can't be on the field, can't do things, because up until that point, all you gotta do is look on social media to see that the boys had drugged the machine out to hit on the field. They were hitting, they were doing things, and were they getting better? Probably not, but that was their therapy. That was their coping mechanism. That was what they were doing. And it was all older guys, and there were other guys, but that was just how they were dealing with what they were going through. The message to them was, if you need to cry, cry. If you need to yell, yell. If you need to talk, talk. If you need to break something, let me give you something to break. The number one thing was, don't direct your anger at another person, because that person doesn't deserve it. And that was the only thing that you could tell them in that moment. And I told them that whatever was in my power, and what we've learned is our power is really limited. But whatever you can do, and whatever thing that you could do, is I said, I'm gonna fight for you. I'm gonna do everything that I can. I'm very thankful at this moment that the NCAA has understands that there's a need to be able to give student athletes some type of opportunity for another year of eligibility, and I think that is paramount in what we're doing. I don't know what that looks like yet. I don't think anybody does. I know there are conversations going, because the rumors come from somewhere, whether it be all student athletes, whether that be just seniors, and you know, I don't have a powerful voice in the legislation or any of those kind of things, but I do know people are making decisions. I think the first thing, and this is going to be a hard decision. This is whatever comes out. Somebody's not going to be treated fairly, whether it's just seniors get it or whether it's everybody. Or then we could go down the rabbit hole of the whole thing of, you know, does this apply to junior college players with the NJCAA doing? There's so many different things that we don't know. When's the draft? How many rounds are they going to have? You know, a lot of people are going to try to leverage this thing in a negative way. And when I say they're going to leverage, they're going to do it in whatever's their best benefit. And I think that's human nature. You could see it from people buying too much hand sanitizer on Amazon and doing things. I think people are going to look at, well, the draft guys, you know, I'm not going to be as good, and you know, there's so many different things that can happen in this. But the first thing that needs to be at the forefront of everything is take care of these seniors. What does that look like? I don't know. I have my own opinion on how I think it should look. Money should not be the object in this. And I know we say that money matters, and it does, it is important. But everything driving this needs to be to take care of the seniors. And after the seniors, need to be take care of the other players. Why do I think that's important? Because, and I'm going to speak from a baseball standpoint. I know this legislation is going to have to go through all sports, okay? I think we have some very unique situations with baseball based off of a 11.7, 27 counters, 35 guys on roster, 25% minimum, all these different things. I don't think any senior scholarship should count against anybody. I don't think a senior should have to pay a dime to come back to school. I think they should be taken care of. What does that look like? How does that look? I don't know. I know that we're in a crisis right now. I know that life is going to be hard. Well, why do you think that? Why do you think they shouldn't pay it down? Well, they weren't planning on coming back to school anyway. You're talking about a kid that may be turning down a $50,000 job to be able to come back and play and be able to do something. And so if it costs $20,000 to go to school and you're gonna give them a 50% scholarship, which is gonna be $10,000, well, they're out 60 now. Because they're losing that $50,000 job. They're gonna have to pay another 10. Well, they're gonna get the benefit of that. Hey, I get all that stuff. But the bottom line is they should be able to be taken care of. How does that work? What does that look like over 5 years? Man, I don't care what it looks like over 5 years. We'll figure it out. The rules have changed. The rules have absolutely changed. We can adapt, we can adjust. We've been juggling budgets and scholarship limits and all that kind of stuff for years. We will be fine. But you gotta take care of these seniors. That's the bottom line. And you gotta take care of these other kids. Why do I feel like legislation should come down to take care of all these guys? Our guys played 30% of their season. At most, they played 30%. We didn't even play a conference game this year. Right now, there are rules in place for football that allow them to play in 25% of the games without losing a red shirt. That's 30% if they even did that. And again, the majority of schools right now didn't even play a conference game yet. But why is that important? You know, you've got a guy that's a sophomore, he's going to be a junior is going to be a senior, and all those kind of things. Well, you know, not everybody finishes their degree in 4 years. Also, your draft guys, you know, Major League Baseball, they leverage everything against them to be able to get them at such a minimal cost. Well, why don't we try to give these kids one more advantage? Why don't we take care of these kids in every single way that we can to give a guy who has a chance to play one extra year of leverage? The other people, they'll be fine. What does it look like? Does that mean we can come out of pocket? I'll raise all the money. I don't care. I'll raise every bit until I have to. Give every school an opportunity to do that. If some people aren't going to do it, then that's going to happen. Okay. How do we need to make this work? I don't know. I just know that people who are selfish right now don't need to be making the decisions. I think this is a big picture thing. I think this is about kids. I've already lost a kid that he's done forever. And that's just his decision. You know, is that fair? No, it's not fair. Life's not fair. Is this fair in how we're gonna enact and what we're gonna do? Man, no. But we have to keep, and look, what I'm saying may not be the best thing, but the thing on the table has to be take care of these seniors. Absolutely take care of these seniors. And then after that, you take care of everybody else. And then we figure everything else. You gotta keep the thing that's most important. And anytime that gets lost, then we need to find other people to make decisions. As far as from, you know, what I feel like our responsibility is right now, hey, everything that has come down from the president to Congress to our governor to Dr. Burkell, from Tanner, from everything. Look, man, I'm gonna stay in my lane. And I'm saying that because I trust the people that are making decisions. There's been constant communication from Tanner about what's going on. Nothing comes out from our school or the state that surprises me, and so I'm extremely appreciative of that, because then it allows me to give our kids a heads up of something that may be coming out. I was able to give them a heads up about 3 minutes before I told them the conference season was going to be canceled. I was able to tell them 3 minutes before the conference put out something. So I can't tell you how important that is. But, you know, right now, you know, my responsibility is figuring out how do I take care of our kids. Right now, academics and their health. Okay, those are the things that we're trying to find a way to take care of right now. Make sure that they're transitioning to online. We know how many kids have laptops. We know how many kids don't. We got 3 kids that don't, and so we you know, if that means you know, going to buy obviously our study lab is available right now. But if that means you know, if I need to go purchase, you know, 3 laptops or whatever to be able to use from a university standpoint, to be able to check them out, just like you can do. Like I'll do anything to be able to take care of our kids right now. That's what's the most important thing. And then what can we do to give them hope? What can we do to give them this is going to be next? Is baseball, from my standpoint, the most important thing? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Not right now. But I think Jake Dickerson said it best. This was before the announcement said, "Hey, do you guys want to take a week off before we get back going and all this kind of thing?" And the most genuine, heartfelt thing that he said, "Coach, I just want to be together." And that's what we can't have right now. We can't have that as a team. We can't have that as a society. And that's the hardest thing right now, is we can't be together. Because that's what they learn. Yeah, they learn how to win baseball games. Yeah, they learn that stuff. But everything that we want right now in society, everything that you want in your families, everything that you want, they just want to be together. So that's why closing the building that day was one of the hardest damn things I ever had to do. I wanted to cheat. I wanted to tell them to use wood bats because they're quieter than metal bats. I wanted to do that. That's all I wanted to do, so I could let them be together. But that wasn't the right thing at that time. Had to lock the doors, had to do stuff. Can't play on the playground, can't do things. You just want to help. And that's what we want to do right now. What does that look like? The only thing that the NCAA has a chance to do right now, because none of this other stuff matters, the only thing they need to do is give us hope. They need to give good people a seat at the table. I'm not saying everybody needs to have an opinion on this, okay? There's a lot of smart people. There's a lot of good people in the NCAA that are associated with it. In our sport, I don't know how it affects softball. I don't know how it affects track. I can't imagine what a basketball player feels like right now. It affects them too. We want to give them an opportunity and then allow them to make a choice. That's what's the most important thing right now. We will adapt. We're the adults. We need to be the adults right now. And we need to take care of these kids because they're going to be the next ones that make these decisions.
Thank you, Justin. Anybody have any questions for Justin? All right, anybody, anything for Tanner on the baseball side?
No, I just have a general, but I can wait on that.
Go ahead.
Tanner, I guess things that he mentioned that he'd like to see implemented, have you heard any updates on anything related to seniors, extra eligibility, or any players?
Other than the announcement from the NCAA that they were pushing it to the Division I Council to review what that plan would look like, that's it. Now, I'm sure our conference administration is having daily phone calls. We're having daily phone calls with the conference administration. But just like I alert all the coaches on probably a need-to-know basis, we're probably operating on a 72-hour window. Let's get through the next 3 days, and through the next 3 days, Monday we got through Wednesday, today we're gonna get through Friday, and then we'll reevaluate the next week. I feel like there's probably more conversation occurring. We're just not being looped in on that yet to keep speculation down of what that's gonna look like until something more concrete can be put together.
Justin, two things. Any conversation about what the summer is gonna look like, Cape Cod League or anything? Has there been any talk with coaches on that?
Not specifically, because I think different leagues have put out something that they're monitoring, because I don't think, initially there was this big push because they were like, hey, guys are going to play in the summer, they're going to do that. And I think probably some guys that we wouldn't have sent out, we would have wanted to do that. As time continues to go, you start to see that it may take longer, from the president coming down that, hey, this could last into July or August. I think that's where people have kind of pumped the brakes a little bit on pushing and those kind of things. I think we're all in this holding pattern right now. The only thing that anybody's doing right now is just getting ready for whenever the green light happens, or we just need to be ready to go. whatever that is. So I'm gonna have a list of guys to go play summer ball. I'm gonna have a list of guys to, are they gonna lose restrictions for us to be able to train with guys in the summer if they're in summer school, or just all the different things that we gotta try to figure out. But there's just been kind of a pump the brakes right now because nobody knows right now. And so I think that's where there was an initial push for that. But I think everybody's kind of, because I don't think anybody wants to go back on something right now. I don't think anybody wants to make this bold, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that. And, the time tells you that this is serious, this is important. If one of our kids were to contract it, or me or whatever, we're probably gonna get through it okay with ever having to do that. It's about protecting other people. And so I think that's where the big picture thing is starting to come into play, and people don't wanna, people wanna do the right thing right now.
Next question was there ever any talk baseball wise about moving it to a summer sport for this year?
No, I think that's from an NCAA standpoint. There hasn't been anything. Not coaches. I think that's been something that has been said even before this pandemic happened. That's probably, if I had to guess, is a non-starter for this one right now, just from a logistics, because you don't want to set, hey, we're going to try to do right here, and then it gets pushed back again. The last thing you want to do is keep giving false hope. The thing that I like the best that's going right now for us is we have a March 30th right now. And I told the guys, say, we operate in the truth in our program. I said, I'm gonna tell you everything I know, and if I don't know, I'll tell you that. But you at least know that. That's probably gonna get pushed back to April 15th. But the fact that the thing I'm appreciative of our university and our administration is they're not just saying we're shutting the whole darn thing down. We're like, so there's at least giving them hope. Now, if we have to, we have to. It's not this finality on things. But I don't know if that's a start. If I had to guess I don't see that that's probably a non-starter right now, but I don't have any conversation with that. And when you start talking about ideas, which is good, I think there needs to be a think tank on these things, because there's ideas of, let's play during the fall, and the only people that can't play during the fall are the people that come in, and then we'll start to see. Well, I mean, I think I don't think there's a bad idea when you first start getting the conversation, but I think you gotta have somebody. You don't need just this one soundbite of this person saying this is how it needs to be. Like, I'm gonna say that this is what's the most important, here's an idea, but you gotta have a strong enough backbone for us to have a conversation and go, this is why this won't work. This is why this could work. Let's have some really smart people work together to try to make this thing happen. Now, comparative to everything that's going on in the world, this is really, really small, but it's our world. It's our world, and this is what we're responsible for. So I don't know I haven't heard anything on the summer being a thing. I really doubt the fall is going to be a thing. That there's a lot of things for the people that get paid to do this to figure out. This is when we make to me, this is when you make your money. The captain of the ship isn't there when it's smooth sailing. They're there when the things get tough. That's when you take the wheel. And you're going to see people take the wheel. But you're also going to see really good people with really good hearts and want to do the right thing. But then you're going to see people to try to flip this for whatever's best for them. And I think we just need to be really transparent about things.
I don't know, maybe this is for Tanner, but you said about the 15th, maybe April 15th, and that if the school doesn't come back, could you have practices? Could you do a practice if the school itself doesn't come back?
I think right now we're not talking about we're at such a lockdown period, we're talking about just being able to open facilities back up should kids want to come do it on their own. Not even close to a conversation about organizing
Just opening up the
activities.
facilities.
Correct, just getting back to, we're talking about kids who had pretty regimented activities their whole lives athletically, and now go sit in a bubble and don't do anything, is trying to phase back with restriction into what can we allow them to do for their mental well-being. That I think we're a long way off from a conversational point of having organized team activity.
Yeah, and I mean, the first thing is me and Tanner need to be able to sit closer to each other. But right now, we can't do that.
There's both doors in the office, so that there's a flow, the air blows through.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a great point, just to be able to open up, to be able to be accessible.
Well, I'm just,
So,
the main thing I think of, you have different access for kids in their home, weight room wise, for football, or say. And how do you get to a balancing point where, they're on equal footing with everybody because you can open something up?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be, there's going to be NCAA, there's conference, there's ULS, there's state, there's so many different things, and we're, again, it's going back to, I think there's the competitive question, which I would say probably football is probably more concerned from a competitive setting right now, because new coaching staff, being able to train your guys and do all the different things to be ready for a football season. Then we're not playing until February. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not
but
worried.
you're in a spot where you have a unique situation baseball does, because you can't start and stop pitchers like that.
Right.
If they're gonna go throw 9 innings in a summer game, now all of a sudden for some summer team, they don't have the buildup. See what I'm
Right. I
saying?
guess what I was kind of getting at is I have the ability to say, no, don't go play summer ball. But, normally we start practice. I mean, this is all the crazy stuff. Like, normally we start team practice in October. Well, I want to move it up to September 1st if I can now. Let's give you something. Let's try to do some stuff. But again, I've communicated that with the guys on everything of what I would like to do. But I think the best way to go about it, this was a conversation when I had with Lily and Riley, my 10-year-old and my 7-year-old, because there's so much unknown right now. Okay, here's where we are, and these are the things that we want to accomplish. There's no really end goal other than us all getting out of it and getting back to whatever normal is, or whatever we define normal is at that point. So these are the things in between now that I want to accomplish. I want to work out. I want to read some books. I want to get better at this. I want to do all these different things. Well, normally there's a roadmap of I want to do this, and this, and you see it in every phase. There's the process, there's the system, there's all the stuff. How we're going to do it. Well, guess what? If you're not flexible, if you're not able to adapt in this environment right now, then you're going to fail. Some people are just going to be like, oh, I'm paralyzed. I don't have this. I don't have the structure there. There is no structure right now. There is no structure. So this is going to be the thing of, okay, here's where I am. This is where I want to be. Is that March the 30th? Is that April 15th? Is that September the 1st? Is that, whenever it comes back, whenever that is, it may not be, the timing may not work for that. But I want my guys to be better ready when that moment happens. They may not be ready to go inter squad, but they're ready to get back, wherever that is, whatever that looks like. And again, that goes back to being, not being rigid in everything, not being so, oh, it has to be like this. And look, hey, I'm as OCD as anybody. I like a plan. I like this. I like that. Man, that ain't the rules of the game right now. This is how it is. It's like, I shared this with one of our players yesterday. It's a very process oriented, and we were talking about going through this and what they like to do. Great player, great kid, great all this stuff. I said, hey, here's my pitching plan, and I showed him my game card from when we played ULM. And if you look on there, it shows the numbers of who's going to pitch when and what, who's the closer and all that kind of stuff. And I said, okay, here's the plan. I said, now flip it over and look at what happened. Well, the number one guy to come in the game at that point would have been Isaac Duplichamp. That's what was listed. Well, the first guy to come in the game was Kevin Royard. Well, why did that happen? Well, it said close next to Kevin Royard. The game needed to be won right there. And Isaac didn't end up pitching, but we used this other guy and that kind of stuff. I said, that's what it is right now. Like, this is the plan. This is what we're going to try to do. But the ability to adapt, like, we had that from a athletic department standpoint, like how we were going to go. We were going to try to have study sessions, there were so many different things that we were going to try to do because that was the rules of the game. Well, then the rules change. And so it's just the ability to adapt. And everybody is, you know, they've kept the kids at the forefront of all their decision making and that. And that's the thing that's made me most proud to be a part of this group.
Anybody else, anything for Coach Hill? Appreciate it, Coach
Okay.
Hill.